You're watching Idaho's News Channel 7. This is Wake Up Idaho.
Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning for Wake Up Idaho. It is 6 a.m. I'm Justin Core.
I'm Brenda Rodriguez filling in for Maggie. It's Wednesday, July 23rd. Let's get to your top stories for today.
The plea deal in the Brian Kohberger quadruple murder case is sparking a heated debate all across Idaho. We're going to give you a preview of what to expect during his sentencing this morning and what Idahoans are saying about justice in this state.
Plus, President Donald Trump is dismissing the significance of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein as his Justice Department seeks an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell.
And a local leader is stepping into the national spotlight with a potential position in the Department of Health and Human Services. Joe Paris will bring you that from Washington, D.C.
A judge will sentence Brian Kohberger today at the Ada County Courthouse. Kohberger admitted to killing Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez in November of 2022 at a home near the University of Idaho.
Kohberger took a plea deal to avoid months of a jury trial and potentially the death penalty in exchange for spending the rest of his life in prison. Experts say today's sentencing is going to be unusual.
Yeah, and our Morgan Romero is live at the courthouse this morning. Morgan, what can we expect to see and hear later?
Yeah, first I want to show you guys the scene outside the Ada County Courthouse right now. I've counted about 20, if not more, media organizations, both from all across the region as well as all across the nation. So much media attention in this case, just given the fact that it's spanned for so long and has had so much interest since the beginning. There are also, I've counted about 70 people in line. These people have been in line since even last night, camped out across the street from the courthouse. When my colleague got here at 1:30 this morning, there were already more than 20 people in line ahead of him. Again, this is likely going to be the final time that we see Brian Kohberger in court in what is the final chapter in this case. We do know that, a lot of criminal cases end in plea bargains, the vast majority, but it is rare for somebody who's accused of murdering multiple people to get a plea bargain. Today is the first time that family members of the victims will get to say their piece in front of the judge, as well as in front of the man who murdered their loved ones.
At the hearing, prosecutors will explain to the judge why they think the sentence they're recommending is appropriate. Defense attorneys will have the opportunity to do the same. Kohberger can then give an allocution, a statement to the court where he could explain his actions and personal circumstances and potentially express remorse, something the public and family members have yet to hear.
Any victims of the crime, their families, can and will have the opportunity to make a statement in court to the judge, in front of the defendant.
This is where the hearing will be unpredictable. Victim impact statements, one of the only times in a judicial process where victims get to speak in court. Some read statements, some speak from the heart, some break down and can't speak at all.
It gives that victim the ability to have some sort of voice in the process. Sometimes it brings a sense of relief to get, the impact of this crime on them or their family off of their chest in front of the defendant. It also helps inform, I think, the judge as well as to the true impact of the crime. In this case, that impact is very clear.
It's unclear exactly when the victims will share their statements. It's up to the judge if that comes before or after the attorneys and potentially Kohberger address the court. Finally, Judge Hibbler will hand down Kohberger's sentence. Of note, the judge is not bound by the plea agreement and can order a different, lesser sentence. If Hibbler sentences Kohberger to life in prison as recommended, attorney Tara Malik says Kohberger would be transferred quickly from Ada County into the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction, where he would spend the rest of his days in prison, most likely in solitary confinement. Given how brutal the crimes were and Kohberger's history of social issues, attorneys tell me solitary is not only appropriate, it's necessary for his protection.
Families of the victims also have the option of sending their written victim impact statements into the court or even having somebody read them on their behalf. I did speak to family and representatives of Xana, Kaylee, and Madison Mogan, and I have been told that they do plan on being here and reading their victim impact statements aloud in court. The family of Ethan Chapin has said that they're not going to be here in Boise today. They were here for that plea deal hearing. They felt like that gave them the closure that they needed, the justice that they needed, and they don't want to face any further trauma. But again, we are expecting a very, very emotional day with a lot of attention here at the Ada County Courthouse. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and as you showed us, a lot of eyes on this case right now. Thank you so much, Morgan.
And we're going to be streaming the sentencing on Ktvb Plus. That's going to start at about 9 a.m. this morning. Brian Holmes will join me along with Andrea Dearden and more to take you up to and through the final chapter in the case of Bryan Kohberger. To watch Ktvb Plus, download the app to your TV and watch for free.
Go ahead and check in on your weather now. Hector, another quiet day for us this morning.
That's exactly what we're expecting. Pretty quiet here in the valley. We're going to see a little less of those clouds and a lot more of that sunshine through the rest of this morning and into this afternoon. But taking a look at some of the current temperatures right now, low 60s across the Treasure Valley. For the most part, that's the similar situation out in the Magic Valley with temperatures inching closer to the mid 60s out in Twin Falls. A much colder and possibly frigid morning getting there just a degree above that freezing mark out in Stanley at 33 degrees. Much warmer out in McCall with temperatures into the upper 40s and low 50s out in Haley. But as we look at the daily almanac and just kind of compare what our afternoon high is going to be for today compared to that average, still maintaining ourselves below that average into the upper 80s. Normally around this time, we're into the mid 90s, so temperatures will start to slowly warm up into those mid 90s as we get towards the rest of the week, and we'll get nowhere near those triple digit highs that we see there in our record at 107 for today. But again, we stick around with most of that sunshine, but we are expecting to see maybe some showers in some spots for today. Chances are low, but I will let you know exactly where we can see some of those thunderstorms and some of those showers pop up in my weather forecast.
Yeah, just warm, not even hot. Hector, thank you.
On the national stage, President Donald Trump is working to distance himself from the uproar over the Jeffrey Epstein case as his Justice Department seeks an interview with Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell.
That's right. House Speaker Mike Johnson, meanwhile, sending members home early for summer recess, frustrated with Democrats and even members of his own party pushing to release files on the convicted sex offender.
NBC's Alice Barr has the latest details from Washington.
President Trump meeting overnight with Republican members of Congress, announcing a long-awaited trade deal with Japan that sets 15% tariffs on Japanese imports.
We worked on it long and hard, and it's a great deal for everybody.
And thanking GOP lawmakers for their support.
You're really allies, that's what you've been.
Just as the House is shutting down early for its summer break, delaying votes demanded by Democrats and some Republicans, calling for the release of the full files on sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
We are not going to let them use this as a political battering ram.
Members of President Trump's MAGA base have been leading the calls for transparency. And now the Deputy Attorney General says he plans to meet with convicted Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, posting that, quote, President Trump has told us to release all credible evidence. If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. The president backing the move.
I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do.
While trying to step back from the controversy.
It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
The House Oversight Committee also voting to subpoena Maxwell's testimony, as Republican Thomas Massie suggested that not releasing the Epstein files could weaken the president's support.
He's eroding his base. More importantly, if we don't take the right side of this issue, it's going to cost us votes in the midterms.
Members of both parties insisting the issue is not going away. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Also, Ghislaine Maxwell is appealing her 20-year prison sentence.
And her lawyer confirmed discussions with the DOJ thanking President Donald Trump for committing to uncovering the truth.
On his request for grand jury testimony to be unsealed, two federal judges said yesterday they're going to need more information before ruling on that.
Coming up next, a big move from the state capitol to the nation's capital, and it's putting one local leader in the national spotlight. How his work here could shape major programs across the country.
6:09 on your Wednesday morning. Let's take a peek outside at your current temperatures. Very pleasant, low 60s across most of the area up in the mountains. Little cooler, much cooler in Stanley, of course. It's going to get warm today, not super hot though. Hector has that coming up next.
It was a relatively cool start for Monday and even into yesterday, but that summer sizzle looks to start to rebuild into the next couple of days as we're going to have warmer temperatures on tap to wrap up the work week. We're also going to stay generally quiet here in many of the valley areas, but we are expecting to see maybe some stray thunderstorms that could possibly pop up through the rest of the weekend in some spots. So I'll get into exactly where we can see that in just a bit. But taking a look at the systems that we are seeing going to bring in some of that moisture, this is where we saw that sort of system up into the north that has brought in some of that instability the past couple of days, at least to start off the week. That's going to move on into the east, and it's going to be this closed low pressure system off into the coast of California that we're going to see make its way onshore. And that's what's going to be pumping in most of the moisture. And it looks like most of that moisture sticks around closer to the Idaho-Nevada border through the next couple of afternoons. So that's exactly where we're tracking some of these isolated afternoon thunderstorms. And again, that looks to last all the way through the weekend and possibly even into the beginning of next week. But again, it's only going to be in particular spots as we look to see that the Treasure Valley and places up north in some of those mountain spots, including the west central and central mountains, stay relatively dry the next couple of days. It's going to be closer to areas in the Magic Valley, but further south of Twin Falls, and then getting into areas closer to the Idaho-Nevada border that we expect some of those thunderstorms to pop up. So again, it looks like we're expecting that through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Chances are very low, so anywhere between 15 to 25% is what we're expecting, so very low chances. But again, the ingredients is all there to see a chance to see some of those thunderstorms pop up, and where they do develop, we could see some outflow winds coming out of those storms at about 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts that we could see, so it could get pretty gusty in some areas, particularly near the Owaihe's and then south into Twin Falls County and other places. And again, that possibility sticks around in through Friday afternoon, could make its way on into the Treasure Valley, but again, chances are very low, just to reiterate, here in places in the valley. So for the most part, we stay relatively dry. We see lots of sunshine all the way through Thursday. Could see some clouds come and go here on Friday with partly cloudy skies on Saturday. Temperatures will return closer to seasonable temperatures into the low 90s by Sunday, and then we'll ramp those temperatures up into near triple-digit heat for Monday and Tuesday.
Ooh, Hector, thank you.
Now to our nation's capital, where there could soon be 3 Idahoans playing a role in key positions within the Trump administration.
That's right. Our Joe Paris is in Washington, D.C. right now with more on who could soon join the Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning from our nation's capital. We are right outside the United States Congress, the ultimate people's house here in the United States of America. And yesterday, it was all about Alex Adams in terms of the attention from Idaho here in D.C. Alex Adams, the Director of Health and Welfare in the Gem State, up for a major position within the Trump administration. He'd be working as part of HHS under Secretary Kennedy, administering programs for foster care and Head Start programs. Adams was facing questions from a collection of senators, mostly some fiery questions from the Democratic side of the room, wanting to really know how Director Adams is going to take what he did in Idaho and apply that to the national stage. We also saw this as a very interesting situation where you have someone like Director Adams, Dr. Adams, matter of fact, who would be working for the Trump administration while also kind of having to cooperate with lawmakers. And you can see through the questioning of lawmakers really wanting yes or no answers on very specific things, putting Dr. Adams in a very unique position in terms of making commitments that he may not be able to make in that moment as just the nominee. So just a little bit of the nuance there. But in terms of Alex Adams, it was just the hearing. In terms of the vote for the confirmation, we may not know for several weeks, maybe even more than a month, if he gets the job, as there's a major backlog in the United States Senate for confirmations. Spoke about that with Idaho Senator Mike Crapo, telling me that there may be hundreds and hundreds of nominees still in the queue, and that includes Idahoans like Mike Boren, who did a nomination hearing several weeks ago, still waiting to get his final vote there. So it is interesting. We know that the United States Senate has a lot of work to do, so it's possible they start working on those nominations and that backlog, while the United States House would actually go home beginning later this week until the really early part of September. So we are going to have a lot to follow today. We'll be following along with Idaho Senator Jim Risch. Stay tuned for our coverage on that. For now, we'll send it back to Boise.
Well, we have a beautiful Wednesday on tap with lots of sunshine, warm temperatures, but we're sticking around the upper 80s for today, with some areas here in the Treasure Valley getting into the low 90s. But again, we'll have another day with temperatures below the average, which is normally around 95 degrees, but today expecting to hit the upper 80s as we head towards 5, 6, and 7 o'clock this afternoon. We're even starting off the morning a little cooler, but still slightly warmer than we saw yesterday, getting down possibly into the upper 50s by 7 o'clock. Then we'll quickly start to warm up those temperatures as we get towards this afternoon and evening, and we stay pretty clear with no clouds in the sky, and we're expecting that at least the next couple of days. So as we look at the Treasure Valley and the Magic Valley, we're seeing lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be much warmer in the Treasure Valley, staying into the mid 80s to upper 80s in the Magic Valley. And as we take a look at places in the mountains, not too far off from what we're seeing here in the valleys, lots of sunshine, pretty comfortable with some of those temperatures getting into the upper 80s. We could see some spots like Riggins get into the low 90s, pretty similar to what we're seeing here in the Treasure Valley. But overall, across the region, seeing lots of sunshine and warm temperatures with lighter winds through the rest of this afternoon and into the evening.
Nice growing weather, Hector. Speaking of which, when it comes to summertime staples, there's one fruit that always ends up in the cooler or on the picnic table. It's watermelon.
Is it too early to want watermelon?
Oh, early in the day?
Yes, like we can use some right now.
If
you're on the same boat, this time of year, it is the freshest you will be able to get it. But before they hit the produce section at the store, they go through a harvest that's fast-paced and hands-on.
In today's Inside Ag, Hunter Funk caught up with one of the largest watermelon growers in the Northwest to talk about that process, which, to be clear, is no picnic. Nice pun, Hunter.
In the Hagerman Valley, watermelon harvest.
We had a warmer than usual spring.
Came a week early.
Which ultimately leads the crops to grow a little bit faster. And so we started record early for our company on July 3rd this year.
Which means the melon gets an additional week of sale. But how do they know when it's time to harvest?
We have what we call a cutter that comes through, checks the watermelon for ripeness, and then cuts the stem on the ones that are ripe and ready today. So here are the watermelons that the cutters have decided are ready to go. And so we like to cut them open every so often and do a quality check and make sure that they look good. They are really good quality this year.
Once they determine which melons are ready, they put them belly up so the next crew can begin.
They pick the watermelons up and they put them on a conveyor belt, which then puts them up onto a trailer. And from there, they're transported from the trailer to the packing house.
It's a labor-intense crop. They harvest 600 acres worth of watermelon. It takes about 4 rounds spaced out a week apart to finish a field. That means from start to finish, a single field can take a month to pick.
It's all done by hand. It's a lot of really hard work. And we're always really appreciative to our employees who are willing to come out and work hard in the 100-degree heat, throwing watermelons all day.
Then it's time for these melons to roll to the packing house, where the trucks unload.
We have a great resource here of the natural spring water that the Hagerman Valley provides. And we're able to put the produce in that. It cools the produce and then conveys it along to the sorters that pick it up. Sort it out according to size, and then we can pack it in the bins.
The average time from farm to store is about a week, but here they say it can be as soon as 1 to 2 days. In 3 months, 2,000 semi-loads of fresh produce will be shipped out across the Northwest.
Portland, Seattle, Salt Lake, Boise.
So since we're talking with the experts, how do you pick the best one at the grocery store?
Tap it, and if you get a higher ringing sound, That's an indication that it's not very ripe. If you get a really low, hollow thud, that's an indication that it's overripe. So you're looking for a nice medium sound.
They're not just tapping melons. They're up 100 acres this year in watermelon fields, so they're also tapping into even bigger markets.
Putting our name out there for more than just potatoes.
I feel like we need a demonstration on picking the best one. I feel like we need it.
He tried to explain it, but it's like, not too hollow, not hollow enough. It's like...
I'm never going to get this right.
What?
Well, Hagerman Canyon Farms will keep harvesting through early September. And this year, they say quality is strong across the board.
You saw that in that package there. So if you spot that Hager Melon sticker, odds are it was picked just a day or two ago. Awesome.
Up next, it's the political showdown. No one saw coming, really. Why tails are wagging and fur is flying in one community's cutest campaign yet.
Can't wait for that. Let's see what's brewing. I did not write any of the puns in this story, but I am Justin Cora, and I approve of these puns and their message. A catty mayoral race brewing in Massachusetts. It's got a lot of personality, even a bit of scandal, just no people. Take a look at these campaign signs. These are feisty felines campaigning for the imaginary office of Bike Path Mayor. They all want to be the mayor of this bike path. One cat making the promise to make cats outside again. It's competitive and creative. Freya running as a member of the Communist Party. Orange Cat running with the Catalyst Party. Claw Diaz representing the Indoor Cat Party, so he's not qualified. And a dog duo has also put their paws in the fight as diversity candidates.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, being journalists, I guess we can't pick a favorite.
Maybe in this case, because it's out in Massachusetts, that we won't really impact any of the votes or anything.
Yeah.
We can maybe pick. I think I'd go for the dogs.
Wow.
I'd go for the dogs.
They could win it. If it's not ranked choice voting, like all the cats could split the vote and then the dog people.
There we go.
Before we move on, though, last hour I mentioned that we have our own cat mayor.
Yeah.
And it's true, guys. His name is Hank the Greenbelt Cat.
Wow.
And he's famous on social media, so
I guess he's famous.
maybe he should run.
Is he a mayor? I don't know if he's ever won an election.
We should bring him on the show and talk to him and just kind of see what his input is. Maybe give advice to their cats out in Massachusetts.
Justin's a hater.
I think he's just claimed power. I think it sounds like a dictator, Hank. I don't know. I'm just kidding, Hank. You're the best.
I'm here for him. Hey, Harry Potter fans, this one's for you. Are you very familiar with troublemaker Lucius Malfoy and his connection to the Slytherin house?
Yeah.
Well, now meet his namesake, Lucius the ball python, who also got into a little bit of trouble. The snake was found coiled up inside a control panel on a Chicago train.
Whoa.
He had slithered away from his owner. Members of the fire department were called in to free Lucius and returned him to his owner, who was actually dressed like a pirate.
Wow.
We don't know why.
Is that the lead? Is that the story here?
Maybe that's
There's
what
a picture of him.
There you go. Hey, firefighters posted on social media that it wasn't a typical rescue, but it was memorable.
I will say he wears that pirate hat pretty nicely.
No,
so
he does.
I think it
It's
fits.
great.
And then he probably has the snake on his, on his shoulder, and it's almost kind of like a parrot. It's the same thing. It's just the same.
Is it kind of like a parrot? Seems like two very different animals.
Tomato, tomato, whatever you guys like to call it, it's okay. Well, guys, we're going to move on here as Chips Ahoy is entering the Upside Down. The cookie company is teaming up with Stranger Things for a limited edition treat. The cookie features a new chocolatey base, fudge chips, and a red strawberry flavored filling. This is the brand's first ever fruit flavored filling, and as part of the collaboration, Chips Ahoy is also releasing retro inspired packs to make it look like you're back in the 1980s.
Nice.
And the new cookies will be available nationwide starting August 11th, ahead of the Stranger Things 5th and final season releasing later this fall.
So go ahead.
What makes it Stranger Things? Is it just like the colors?
I think it's the color. I think it's the colors and all that stuff. I think that's the only thing. And the wrapping too.
Is there some sort of like I don't know, staple in the show that...
Listen, Brenda, we don't need to think too much about it. It's got the Stranger Things logo on it. It looks good in the packaging. And we're prepping and getting ready for the final season of Stranger Things. So it's okay.
Brenda's all like...
She wants it shaped as a Demogorgon, and she wants it to taste like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Goodness
like
gracious.
Slime or something, whatever a Demogorgon tastes like. Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to slap a title like that, then come on.
Brenda's like, your collab does not impress me, Chips Ahoy.
I need answers. That's all I'm saying.
More Wake Up Idaho after this.